What is the United States lacking the most in terms of racial progress, given that we're lacking a lot of things?
Mm-hmm.
But what's lacking the most? And let's keep it 100 here. Let's talk straight to one another about it.
I would say it would be white empathy for the actual black struggle in America and the history of the black struggle. I think a lot of whites really don't understand what it is, and I think a lot of it is very painful, and it's very difficult to acknowledge that, that the mainstream culture were the perpetrators of a lot of this pain. That's not an easy thing to acknowledge, and it's not something people want to hear all the time. And there's this desire to want to move on from that. But there's no other instance of us dealing with history where we feel we have to move on from a painful moment and to stop acknowledging that it happened, This is the only one that we're forced to move on from, Like the whole, people always say, slavery happened so long ago, let's move on. Why can't we get over it? But yet we're not supposed to move on from a Confederate flag, and the Confederacy was 3 years in our nation's existence. It lasted for 3 years, basically, but slavery lasted for hundreds, and the legacy of it is profound. And it's not just slavery, but it's blacks were the only group that was institutionally kept out of sharing in the promise of what America is. They were institutionally kept out. And you know this, Dan. We talked a little bit about this growing up in Texas and that sort of thing, and even the experience your dad had. We talked about when you sat at that meeting, with the guy who just wanted to participate in government. And the way that we were not just institutionally kept out, but there was a collusion of it that was done on just the simplest of levels. And sometimes you hear a millennial term called microaggression, which is kind of used in a way that people don't take seriously. But what that means as a black American is that no matter where you are in America, you are treated as if you're other. From a comedian's point of view, I always felt like you're at a family reunion and you're not in the family, is what it always felt like. Now, having said that, blacks have done amazing things in this country to cut through that, right? We've seen so much amazing black achievement and so much of that's happened that's been inspirational for blacks and whites, for all of Americans, whether it's been sports figures, or people in entertainment, people in business, people who have innovated and that sort of thing. And, of course, our first, hopefully not last black president. But a lot of it is, I think a lot of Americans, white Americans, don't have true context and a true feeling of what the black experience in America is like. There's such a superficial rendering of it, I think, Dan, that doesn't really do it justice.